these negotiations, we know that our future is at stake, and what the world wants is a real deal from Copenhagen.
I think every year that goes by, it becomes more and more difficult for us to avoid more and more significant impacts from climate change. Imagine if you are at the top of a hill and you're going up, and you get to the top of the hill and you suddenly get a tipping point, and all of a sudden you go down the other end, like a rolling coaster. And so there's a concern that the climate system has some of those tipping points where the climate might change slowly for a period of time until we get to one of those instability points and then suddenly move very, very rapidly to some new state, a state that we are ill-adapted for. And it's going to be a problem that my generation was not able to address, and your generation hopefully will.
I have a request for you, dear world leaders. Don't let us down. I understand that it is not easy to strike a deal and come to a consensus, but have you tried really hard enough?
I've been working with the environment since school, but all of a sudden, since the past 5 years, climate change has really been effective. The effects are showing more and more. If you go to the Himalayas and you speak to the locals will say that it's not so cold anymore at this time. The rain is getting scarce. Farmers are committing suicide.
I started to realize what's going on with our Earth and climate. I start to find life actually is more than studying. I do think we're running out of time. If we already realize it's wrong, why not just make it right?
My number one goal for being here in Copenhagen for the climate negotiations are to have a positive impact on influencing what is, likely one of the most important decisions that gets made in our lifetime. I mean, we've been messing up on this for way too long, and this is the time to get it right and to correct it.
Madam President.
The senator from Oklahoma.
If you've followed the U.S. Senate, you will know that the Senate's position on global warming treaties couldn't be more clear.
The U.S. is really such a huge, huge part of the problem and such a huge part of why we're here right now.
If you bring back anything from Kyoto or anywhere else for us to ratify, and if that treaty that we're supposed to ratify either does not include developing countries or is harmful to our economy, then we won't ratify.
What right does the Senate, actually I'm talking about the Senate, which actually kind of rules the world right now? A bunch of old people, they're going against us because of whatever, because of money.
It's not even the majority of them. It's a very small number of congresspeople and senators that are hijacking the world's ability to go forward and make real progress on climate change.
And it's frustrating. It's really frustrating because this is the whole world against the United States.
I feel like we had a lot of hope mobilizing all these young voters in the fall of 2008 and just getting the crazy turnout that we hadn't seen in decades.
Let it be said by our children's children that when we were tested, we refused to let this journey end.
It really felt like we were, had the possibility to really impact our government. And the feeling that I have now, having worked now for a year with more power than we've ever had, is that we have no power.
Climate justice now! Climate justice now! Take back the talks! Take back the talks! La tierra no se vende! La tierra no se vende! Reclaim power! Reclaim power! Reclaim power! Reclaim power! Reclaim power! The world is watching you!
We are here to protect the entire world.
Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you!
While it looks like the U.S. isn't going to be making the commitments that they need to at the international level. I feel like a deep responsibility of us as U.S. citizens going home is going to be to figure out, okay, in the absence of the U.S. making the sort of like international commitments that it needs to, what are we going to do at home to actually spur that switch to renewable energies and energy efficiencies more than we've been doing now, so that kind of almost like kind of a back-end way of making those reduction cuts. There's like 500 youth from the US here, and they're fired up and they are ready to go home, and they have networks of people that are going to be pushing their Congress left, right, and center to get the sort of bold action that we need to move forward both domestically and internationally.
I have a lot of hope in the youth movement because I know as a youth and as a youth movement, we can really change a lot. You negotiators keep negotiating for our life, but we are going to do what we have to do and at least answer our children that when there was time, we did something.
I want you to realize that we, your children, are supporting you to take bolder actions. And also, you are not a climate change official. You are my dad and my mom. Just remember that.